Hello everyone, I am Rekha Murthy, Assistant Professor from Department of Electrical and Electronics Engineering from Sai Vidya Institute of Technology. Today I am here to discuss about the concept of Hopkinson's test from the electric motors subject of 4th SEM EEE. So this Hopkinson's test belongs to the module 2 concept. Before we go with this Hopkinson's test, we should know that what are the disadvantages brought out from the previous test. See, there are mainly two tests which we carried out for the machine, that is direct method and indirect method. In that we had already discussed about the direct method, that is by using a brake drum arrangement, which was called as brake test. And the indirect method, that we had included the Swinburne's test. Also, we can include the Hopkinson's test. So, the Swinburne's test, which was called as a no-load test. In that only a single reading will be taken up. With that no-load value itself, we were able to calculate the efficiency of the machine. But the few disadvantages will be there, that is, in that method, in the Swinburne's method, the iron losses will be assumed to be as constant, which is not as a true value, because as they change from no load to full load. So due to this, the armature reaction at a full load, there will be a distortion in the flux. So there will be an increase in the iron losses. And one more thing, here the Swinburne's test is only for the no load test. It can be carried out only for at no load. So it was difficult to know whether there will be a satisfactory commutation at full load, right? So for that purpose, that is one of the disadvantage. And one more thing, that we were not able to we were not able to get the temperature raise value of a machine. So we have assumed that there is some raise in the temperature at a full load, which we cannot check it at a no load condition. So all these disadvantages can be overcome by using the Hopkinson's test. So this Hopkinson's test is also known as the back-to-back test. It is also known as back-to-back test. Back-to-back test. Here we are going to utilize the two identical machines which will be connected back to back. So here we are using the generator and the motor which will be connected back to back. So it is called as a back to back test. Both the motor as well as the generator will be coupled. It will be mechanically coupled with each other, and it will both are mechanically and electrically connected in parallel. So it is called as a back-to-back test. And this test is also called to be as the regenerative test. It is also called to be as regenerative test. Because here, as you know, that what is the input of a motor? We are connecting motor coupling with a generator, right? So what is the input to this? The input will be the electrical input, right? And output is the mechanical output. Here the input will be the mechanical input and the output will be the electrical output. So again this will be connected back to here. So like this we will see the cycle, this process will continue further. Okay, so motor drives the generator and generator will supply the input to this motor. So due to this reason, it can be called as a regenerative test. And one more phenomena we can derive, that this test is also called to be as heat run test. Heat run test. So whenever you find that we can able to determine the temperature rise of a machine, okay, so at that phenomena we can call it as the heat run test. It is called as a heat run test. Okay, so let us see how exactly the circuit diagram looks like. So as I told, we are going to use the two identical machines. So the configuration which we are going to use here is shunt configuration. Okay, so we'll be using a shunt motor and here we'll be using a shunt generator. So now let us draw the circuit diagram. Let us draw the circuit diagram. So initially, first I will draw the armature of the motor. Okay, and here this is, as I told, it is connected back to back with the generator, right? Okay. Now, as I told, we are going to make use of a shunt configuration. So I am going to take some deviation from here, this point. Okay, and I'll be utilizing one ammeter to measure the current to the field winding. Okay, and from here this will be connected to the rheostat. It will be connected to the rheostat. So this rheostat is respect to the controlling the field winding of the motor. So this will be denoting as RM. And here this will be the field winding. So let me take, this is R shunt M. Okay. Then similarly on the generator side we are going to write down. Again I am going to use the ammeter and one more, the field winding, which will be shunt to this, and that will be connected to the rheostat here, variable rheostat, which will be denoted as RG, because that rheostat is responsible to control the field current for the generator. And this is the shunt of this generator, right? So till here you have followed. Now as I told, I have to connect it parallel to this. So directly I am not going to connect it parallel. Okay, I am going to make use of one switch. I am going to make use of one switch. So let me make use of one switch. Okay, so let me denote it as switch S. And across this I am going to connect one voltmeter. Right? Then, so this is a 75% of the circuit you have drawn. Okay, the only we are left out with the input to the motor. Okay, what is the input to the motor? Electrical input, right? So here we are going to use a DC supply, right? Because we are using a DC machines. So let me take up a DC supply with a polarity. So this is a DC supply. So that will be connected directly to the line. So I am going to make use of an ammeter to measure that line current. Okay, and this completely you can complete here the path. Okay, and also we will measure the line voltage by connecting one voltmeter, which is across this point, across the main supply. Okay. Now you can mark the current here easily. So what is the input to this motor? Usually the current will be entering towards into this, because the input is the electrical input. So the current respect to this armature will be IAM. Okay, and here this will get deviated to this point and this point. Just a minute. This is your line current, 1 minute. So this is what the current is entering. Okay, and here you can see this is the line current, right? So this will be the line current, and this line current is coming to this position, so it will go like this and it will be deviated here. Okay, now the current which is with respect to this will be the current of the shunt field winding of motor. Okay, fine. This is one path we have completed. Now similarly you can complete the current path for this generator also, right? So here what is the output of the generator? Current will leave, right? So let me take the current, armature current here. This is the armature current of what? Generator. Okay, so this is the current which will be coming out. Okay, and a part of this current will be entering to here. So the current which is flowing here, okay, so that will be your again I shunt G. Okay, fine. So here the ammeter you can denote it with different names. Let me take this as a ammeter 1. Okay, ammeter 2. Okay, one more ammeter I am going to insert here. Ammeter 2. Okay, and this will be the ammeter 3, ammeter 4. Okay, so totally 4 ammeters we are going to use. Okay, then voltmeter, here this will be the 1 voltmeter, and voltmeter here which is connected across a switch, right? So here what is the main purpose here what you can see that in this case one of the machine is made to act as a motor, and while the other machine is made to act as a generator. Initially the switch will be kept open. Initially the switch will be kept open. Okay, and the other machine which is coupled to the first, it will act like a load. Okay, it will act like a load. So here you can see that both the machines are coupled to each other. So the first which is acting as a motor, and the second one will be acting like a generator. Okay, so the speed here, the speed of the motor, it will be adjusted, the speed of this motor, it will be adjusted to the normal value with the help of this rheostat, field rheostat, with the help of this field rheostat. Okay, so here the voltmeter reading will be observed. So once you see that the voltage across the generator is adjusted by its field rheostat, so that the voltmeter reading is reading 0. So here you can see first initially when you give a supply, okay, the switch is opened initially and we will adjust this rheostat so that the motor will run at a rated speed, and we will see that the motor is going to drive the generator. Okay, during that time the voltage here across this switch should read 0. Okay, but that can be adjusted by using this rheostat, that is RG. Okay, so here the voltmeter will read 0. So this will indicate that the generator voltage will be having a same magnitude and a polarity of that of the supply voltage. So that indicates that the how it will read it is 0, because the difference of the voltage should read 0. Okay, so here once it reads 0, then it indicates that the generator voltage is having a same magnitude and polarity to that of a supply voltage. This indicates that we are going to prevent a heavy circulating current which is flowing into this loop of the armature. Okay, then only we can close the switch. Then we will close this switch. Okay, once the voltmeter reads 0, then only we are going to close the switch. Then the generator current I2 will be adjusted. So this I2 this current will be adjusted. Okay, it will be adjusted to any value by increasing the excitation of a generator by reducing the excitation of the motor. So like that, the various readings which is shown here by the different ammeters will be noted down. Okay, now let's see that how you are able to determine the efficiency. So let us see that what are the calculations we have to include. See, already I have denoted what is V. It is a supply voltage, IL is the line current, and IM is the input current to the motor. Okay, and Ig is the input current to the generator, and IAM is the motor armature current. I shunt M is the motor shunt field current. What is I shunt G? That is the generator shunt field current, and also the respective resistance. RA will be the armature resistance of each of the machine, and R shunt M. Okay, so that will be the motor shunt field resistance. R shunt G will be the generator shunt field resistance. Okay, so now here let us calculate the efficiency of the machine by the Hopkinson's test. Let me consider the power input. Let me perform the calculation of efficiency. Okay. So here the power input from the supply. The power input from the supply, what is that? Power is nothing but the product of voltage and current. Okay. So power input from the supply. It will be equal to V into IL. Okay, which can be equal to the total losses of both the machine. It can be equal to the total losses of both the machine. And what is the armature copper loss of the motor? What will be the armature copper loss? Armature copper loss of the motor, which is equal to IAM square into RA. Okay, IAM square into RA. And similarly, the field copper loss of the motor, it will be equal to I shunt M square into R shunt M. Okay. Similarly, we can write down what will be the armature copper loss of the generator. What will be the armature copper loss of a generator? It will be IAG square into RA. That is the armature copper loss of the generator. Similarly, field copper loss of the generator, that will be I shunt G square into R shunt G. So these are the different armature copper loss of and field copper loss of the two machine. Now the constant loss is nothing but called as a stray loss, which includes the iron, friction and windage losses, right? So how do you determine the constant loss? Okay, so let me write down that constant loss. So here constant loss of both the machine, okay, of both the machine, it can be written as the power input minus armature and field copper loss, armature copper loss and field copper loss of both the machines. Okay, so let me take up that as WC. In the previous session, in the Swinburne's test, we have denoted stray loss as WC. Okay, or it can be called as PC. Okay, so what is the power input? V into IL minus what is the armature copper loss? Here you have listed, no, armature copper loss of the motor. So that only you have to write here. You have to add all this. Okay, so IAM square into Ra, armature copper loss, and field copper loss of the motor, I shunt M square into R shunt M. Everything you have to add up, that's it. This voltage input minus difference with the sum of all these things. Okay. Plus similarly IAG square into Ra plus I shunt G square into R shunt G. So this is how the stray loss can be obtained. Okay. See here, assume that the stray losses known as a this stray losses is been equally divided between the two machines, because we are using two identical machines. So total stray loss per machine, total stray loss per machine, it can be given as WC divided by 2. WC divided by 2. Okay. Now let us determine the efficiency. So always the first step is we have to determine the stray loss. Whenever you want to find out the efficiency, the first step is we have to determine the stray loss. So this is how the calculation you have to carry out. Okay. Now let us find out the efficiency of the machine when it is acting as a generator. Efficiency of generator. So generally, what you know the efficiency formula of a generator? We know that it is the output power divided by input power. As you all know, output power divided by input power. So usually we have to manipulate which term? Denominator term in the case of generator. So what do you have to manipulate? Output by input. But input I am going to express it as with respect to output and losses. So how do you write that? Output divided by output plus losses. Okay. So now let us write down. So what will be the here this will be the output. So what is the output? We have to assume. So the output of a generator, we have to assume it as V into I A G. So this is what the output. Okay. Then this is a electrical output. So it will be a product of V into I, armature current. Then what are the losses you have to include? We have to include the constant loss. In this losses, what are the losses you are going to include? We have to include the constant loss. What just now you have calculated, no? The constant losses. So the constant losses for the generator when you take up, so that is nothing but WC divided by